The food in India has evolved quite a lot. One, it's because people are a little more health conscious. So emphasis is more on grilling, less greasy, less oily food. The amount of cream that is consumed in America, I wouldn't blame Indian restaurants alone because Italian restaurants do that too. The amount of cream that is consumed here, if you're using that much cream in India, we could never afford Indian food. It's so expensive. So in India, you do not see the food anymore creamy, greasy. There's less emphasis on less oil, less cream, and as it is, our food is grilled a lot. All the chicken that goes in is grilled without the skin, so that gives you an idea. It's minus fat. So people are actually moving towards more. It's not modern. It's not a fusion. It's just that the tastes have become a little more sophisticated, I would say.
Okay.
So it has evolved quite a lot, and a lot of regional cuisine has started coming into the restaurants and hotels in India.
Right, wow.
I don't know about other restaurants, but I have an advantage when I cook because I worked in some of the best kitchens in India. Back in my days, 22 years ago, best restaurants were in big luxury hotels. And that's where I learned all my cooking. That's where, when I graduated from a culinary school, that's what my first job was. And I worked there for 4 years. That's where I picked up my basics. So we do the same style of cooking that they do there. A lot of restaurants in America, I see the kind of cooking they do, like I said, it's stuck in 60s. Or it's they've learned things here, so which are already kind of evolved to suit the American palate or the conveniences here. So my food is actually still stuck there. We're still chopping onions, we're still chopping tomatoes the same way we were doing 25 years ago. Tomatoes could be $40 a case or $10 or $12 a case. I'm still chopping 12 to 15 cases a week. So everything gets chopped, onions, chopped, tomatoes, everything is from scratch. I think that's where the difference is in the food. We don't have canned tomatoes that you can use. Unfortunately or unfortunately, no Indian sauces come in number 10 cans that a restaurant can use.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Right.
good for us and good for our customers.
That's good.
Touch wood. We didn't see that much of a dip in this downside that we had in 2 years. It's because the client base that we have built is not on just value for money. We give a 6-ounce steak with a lot of fries and coleslaw. We don't do that. So our emphasis has always been on quality of the food that we're serving. So we didn't see that much of a dip. Our customers still eat out. And I think what a restaurateur in a bad economy really needs to do is to wow the customer. Because they will, we're not selling cars, we're not selling houses that you have to make a big investment. You can feel good about yourself spending 20, 30 bucks. That's what restaurants do. And if you make them feel good on that evening, I think it's a much easier sell and much easier for you to survive in an economy like this. But I have to add, our purveyors are not very helpful. They keep increasing the prices. In India, just to give you a background on India, there are like 27 states, I think, and they're all divided on linguistic and cultural basis. And the food changes a lot. Most of the Indian cuisine is actually concentrated from the north, from the state of Punjab. That's where my mom and dad comes from. Because all we can think of is eat, food, cook and eat. So the food is wonderful there. But, at the expense, it's used in all the restaurants at the expense of other cuisines which are completely ignored. Some restaurants you would see a little bit of the Goan food there, which was a Portuguese colony but eats very spicy food. So it's a melange of Portuguese and the chilies. But all along the coast, like Kerala, even in the west, there is Bengal. There are Gujarat. You do see a little dishes because there's a big immigrant population from there. but Kashmir, which is up in the north, those actually kind of get ignored in most restaurant menus because they would concentrate on just the dishes that people know because they've been eating at restaurants that sell Punjab food, the North Indian food. So those are the things I would actually like people to get to try, and that's what we do in our menu. We have a couple of at least two regions that we target. We have 3-4 dishes from each, so people can try that out. And some of them have become my best sellers.
Going.
Oh, I see. It's becoming more and more mainstream. I go to restaurants and they all started experimenting with Indian spices, and I do see the word curry, which is British. It's not Indian. Curry is a British spice. It's a British one-size-fits-all concoction, which no Indian chef would be using it in India. But I see it encouraging because a lot of chefs are experimenting with it. They are, I'm hoping today they're using curry powder, tomorrow they will be a little more deeper into Indian food. And I see the customers are also ready for a little more spice in their food. Indian food is spicy, does not have to be hot. Chili is not the only spice.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that because
Sure.
that's what we're trying to tell people.
Oh, it's the biggest challenge I have is educating people. Indian food has a lot more variety of spices. It does not necessarily have to be hot. It's just that certain regions do eat very hot food in India. And I think some of the restaurants that initially opened up, they actually made the food quite spicy. So that turned off a lot of people. So my constant challenge is, educating people that Indian food is not hot necessarily. Some dishes are, but not all of them are. That really is the problem. The rest are all minor things. The rest are all minor things. It's what people. A lot of times you will ask people, why don't you try this? They say, oh, I don't eat curry, and I was like, the curry is British. We don't use it. Actually, the word curry comes from an Indian term tari. Tari just means sauce. Just means sauce. And the British couldn't pronounce tari, so it became curry. And now it's a blend of spices that they do. For every dish we cook, we have a blend of spices that we will mix in and cook with it. That's freshly ground and freshly you mix it in and grind it and then use it. Curry powder is one size fits all. So that's why it's not a good product because it is loaded with coriander powder, cinnamon. They tend to be a little overpowering smells. When I was learning, the master chef I used to work with, he used to always say, the spices should be subtle. They should be guessing it's there, it's not there. If they can feel it's there, you've killed it because especially with vegetarian dishes, it's very easy to overpower the flavors of the vegetables with spices. So you have to be subtle in whatever you do. And that's what I hope and try to do, that you can still taste the vegetable or the meat in the dishes that we do.
Wow, that's cool.
I have no clue. I cooked my first dish when I was in, I think, 7th grade. My mom used to cook, and I love to eat, and that can tell. You can see from my size. So I would, see what she's doing. She's making bread. I would make a little bread for me. And the first dish I cooked I was in 7th grade. And
What was that first dish?
oh, that was a vegetarian dish which nobody in my house liked. And it's like a pumpkin kind of it's a long pumpkin in India. It's a tropical vegetable. So I used to love it. And surprisingly, my dad, who used to eat everything, he also didn't care much for it. So me and my mom were the only ones who would love to eat it. So that's the dish I love to cook. I learned how to cook. And my sister, she still thinks cooking is a chore. So my mom would actually teach me dishes, and she wouldn't care.
No. Now, do you offer that dish at your restaurant?
Oh no, I can't even find the vegetable in America. There is a close relative, but no, I don't. I can
Latin.
eat anything. I could eat Italian. I could. But if you were to ask me a dish that you would eat, an Indian dish that I would love to eat, it's a dish that it's a very traditional dish. I sometimes do it for my special menus. It's called nihari. It's a dish that very few restaurants serve it. Even in India, it's an old dish which is dying down. Traditionally they used to cook overnight. They would do it with the shank parts of the meat, and it's slow cooked. It's very much like an osobuco, but it's much more tender and very flavorful. That's what I remember from my college days, cycling half an hour to go to a restaurant that would sell that, and have that.
Oh.
Oh, I love that.